Hey guys, welcome back to Maxplained Dawn of War Unification. Today I have another faction guide for you, this time for the Farsight Enclaves. The Farsight Enclaves are a kind of Tau faction. I mean, there's Tau Empire already, having a lot of stuff, but the Farsight Enclave, as far as I understood it, is like a, as the name says, an enclave, a far out Tau army you could think of, led by Commander Farsight. He has 7 commanders that are following him. So you have the 8, which is, I don't know much about lore, but this is something that people always bring up. Do we have the 8? Yes, we do. Something like that. And as they are far out in space, they do not produce a whole lot of stuff. They do not have access to a whole lot of production themselves. They are more, how should I say, dependent on supports from space, basically, and that's also a defining feature of the faction Unification is the Orca drop-ins, which I will talk more about once we are in the save game, which we are heading right now. And here we are in the save game, and before, as usual, we go through the units and buildings. We talk about resources and unit caps, and actually for the Farsight Enclaves I need to talk a little more about the special defining feature of the faction. I told you in the beginning that it is special in a way that you do not produce a whole lot stuff on the planet itself, and you're more reliant on space stuff. So the thing with Farsight Enclave is that you cannot produce a whole lot of stuff in your buildings. Like you see that there's only limited stuff in the production in the buildings, and most of the stuff you drop in. How do drop in work? Basically, you have one building, the Enclaves Council, that gives you a summon enclave card, which is basically summons in a Orca. You can summon in the Orca in a radius around it, and if you do, there are multiple things happening. The first things, you will see that there will be coming in an Orca. I pause it real quick so we have time to talk about it and it's not leaving. So there's a timer going up. It is, as long as it's here, you have the ability in this regard, this is the Commander Orca, I call it, drop in one of the 8 commanders. I have them already on the field, so they're all grayed out, you cannot get them here. But yeah, you can get them via the Enclaves Council. Yeah, so you can get the commanders. The commanders themselves, really quick pause, also can then call in Orcas once they're on the field. You can see here. And this is the, I call it the unit Orca. You see they have a different color. He is white, he is red. That's by design. I do not think it's random. And here you can get the actual units, like the infantry, some vehicles as well. All the good stuff you get from this Orca transport over here. So this is the main part, how you get commanders and how you get units on the field. So you get a commander Orca, you get a commander, and then you can drop in a unit Orca, I call it, to call in the units. They have cooldowns, of course. The Enclaves Council cooldown starts off in 210 seconds, which is basically 3.5 minutes. But there are upgrades down here, which I am not showing here because I have them already, which increases the time 30 seconds each and allows you to get more of the commanders. You will see it in Techtree later on. In the beginning, you only have 2 commanders. So you can get a little faster. I think, don't quote me on that, the Orca for the units is like 3 minutes cooldown, 3 or 4 minutes, something like that. So every commander that you have on the field can summon in a unit Orca every 3 minutes. So that sounds, oh, I can only get a few units, but yeah, you can also get your early infantry over here in the commander building, and later on you can get also some stationary stuff being built from the war factory and stuff like that. But you're really reliant on the Orca drop-in timings and keeping your commanders alive. There's another part of this. We quickly talk about it after I talk about the orbital landing flare. In the beginning, you start off. Let's later talk about this. We are now talking about the economy because the Orcas are a vital part of your economy. Your requisition you get from your HQ, which is standard, and you get 6 per captured listing post, but you do not get resources from the fire bases, they are called here. they do something differently. We will talk about it once we are with the Orca through. The Orcas being dropped in produce +10, +10 while they are on the field. This is true for the Orca normal transport and for the Orca transport for the units. There are upgrades in the HQ that increase them by +5 each. So there's one requisition upgrade in tier 2, one requisition upgrade in tier 3, getting your Orca from +10 to +15 to +20 in requisition. Same is true for the plasma power income, which also gives you +10, +15, +20. Notice that you do not produce any power. You do not have power generators. All your power you generate, you get from your Orcas. The Orcas also have the ability to not get a unit out, but get one of the supply drops. The supply drops give you 100 requisition or 100 power each. Notice that you also have it here on the unit side. So that's how you can get some more economy going. There's only one building that produces power for you. That is the resource excavator, which is built on a slag deposit. It gives you 30 requisition and 10 power. So you see power is scarce, but this is taken care of in the unit prices and stuff. So most units that cost for other factions a lot of power do not cost as much power for those guys. So your whole economy and units are based on a relatively low power economy. I have made this little overview for you here, where you can see all the different things where you can get power and stuff from. And while I'm looking at it, I also noticed that I haven't talked about a firebase. The firebase, each firebase, not upgrades do not count. Each firebase increases your global income. It increases your global income of requisition by 5% and your global income by power by 10%. And as you can usually only get power through Orcas, it mainly increases your power income from the Orcas, but also your general requisition income. So the firebases themselves do not provide like flat increase, but percentage-based increase. So the more firebases you have, the better, as is true for most factions, like more listening posts, more better, but they function a little differently. And there's also one upgrade, which I haven't researched here, Wisdom of Salashhay. These names are awesome. That also increases your general income of requisition and power by +10 each. So yeah, most people were like, oh, I'm scarce for power and stuff. This can be true in some modes like survival, where you're not fighting and losing a whole lot. There you will be a little scarfed on the power side. But in normal skirmish, for what the game is actually balanced about, you can have a good economy, especially as you can fix your economy with one of these drop-ins. You lose the ability, of course, to get units inside. So it's a little snowball. The more commanders you have, the more units you can call in, the more Orcas you can call in, the more economy you go. If you lose commander, it can be really a bit painful, but you can get them. The more of these resources you get in the later stages, you can more quickly replace lost commanders. So this is the economy. Now about the unit caps, they are also special. You notice that you have the first cap over here is your commander cap, and the second cap is your actual unit cap. I have big pop cap options enabled over here. We can actually stop the pause. And you start with 0 and 10. And each orbital landing flare gives you 1 commander pop and 5 unit pop. So in the end, if you can get up to 6 of these to increase your stuff, I think it was kept at 6. Maybe this was changed. I think it was 6. So your maximum is 6. Build more. Yeah, it is. You see, I cannot build more. It is kept at 6. And so you can get 6 out of the 8 commanders in normal gameplay. If you increase your caps, you can get all. And the vehicle cap, it's called, it's basically your unit cap, goes from 10 and then +5 each to 40, which is basically 20 + 20. So you have all units cost like your normal unit cap. You see it over here. All contribute to it. And yeah, you can get up to 40 quote-unquote units with it, which is the standard if you have 2020 enabled. So this is the unit caps. And also resources and Orca. So this was a whole lot of input for you. I hope you mostly understood it. If you have some more questions, please leave it in the comments or ask your fellow people around in the war room, for example. With this done, we now can talk about the buildings. The buildings, you have your forward outpost, which is your HQ. It gives you your builder, your first 2 capping units, resource upgrades in this special commander I talk later. The resource upgrades in tier 2, the 2 skimmers, the Tetra speeder and the Piranha skimmer, both of which are really potent in what they do. I will talk about them in the units. In tier 1 you have also access of course to your Enclaves Council, which is vital. You can build more of those, I think, but they will not allow you to get more of these summons in, as they have a shared cooldown over here. You see you cannot get a lot out of it actually. And of course your orbital landing flare. The orbital landing flare, you must start with it or you cannot get a commander, and without a commander you can basically cannot play really. Do we have an increase in cost of those? No. I thought we do. Maybe I'm wrong. I remember that they are a little cheaper early on. Not sure. Give me a second. Once this is deleted, we can see if there's actually a price increase coming in or not. It stays around for a bit. You can see it here once this is exploding. No. Okay, this looks pretty expensive. I thought it was 150 0. Maybe there's something going on that I'm missing and I need to invest later on. But yeah, building one of those in the beginning is vital, and then of course the more commanders you want to have, the more of these we want built. Then you can get in tier 2. In tier 2 you can build your research and development center, which grants you a hell of a lot of different researches for your units on the top and commanders at the bottom, like Heroes Fortitude, more health, Strength in the Brotherhood, increases morale and stuff. Rally the Righteous increases regeneration, which is very important as you want to keep your units alive. You do not want to lose commanders if possible. The last one is like Heroes War Gear, which enables you a whole lot of different abilities and drones and stuff. And in the top you have like the War Gear enabler for your units, some stuff for abilities, and also something for drones, which makes your drones cheaper and stuff like that, I think. And yeah, this then allows you to go to tier 3, where you can build your Earthcast War Factory, which allows you to first and foremost build a Razor Shark Strike Fighter, which is a air unit, so one of the few units you can actually build on the field, and also allows you in tier 3 and also the Titan tiers get your Relic unit, which is your Swordfish Gunship. Your Super Heavy is the Tiger Shark, and the tier 2 Titan is the Mantile Missile Destroyer and stuff like that. So that's all the standard buildings. You have of course listening posts that can be upgraded. Upgrade is relatively cheap as it does not increase your resources, it just gives you a cannon and then a better cannon. Speaking of cannons, the Resource Excavator we have talked about can actually defend himself. He has this big drone mounted over here, but what also can fight are these sentry drones. There are sentry drones which give you a missile pods, this is this one, or get some rapid fire burst cannons. These are locked behind tier 2, and then you have your basic sentry drone turret. The sentry drone turret seems to be a bit special in the pen values. It's very good against commanders, but not so good against infantry, for example. So there might be something on it. And of course there's also a minefield you can place. And these two buildings, Orca Cannon and Shield Generator, are your tier 1 Titan equivalent. So you have also here Titan buildings. Orca Cannon you kind of know from the campaign if you have played it. Basically a big old artillery going half the map. And then you have also the Shield Generator, which gives you defensive bonuses, protects Enclaves allies from ranged attacks, protects in the field and whatever. Basically defensive buffs, and basically map wide. On a map like this I think it's almost map wide, so this is why you see all this sparkly nonsense over here. I will delete it so we get rid of the FX, so we can actually see a bit better what they actually do. So this is your tier 1 Titan building actually. There we go. Yeah, this now brings us to the units. And for the units, of course, we start with the commanders, and you have the 8 commanders over here. But you also have the little builder over here, the Earthcast Engineer. He's walking around with his little, what is this, welding tool over here, and can get later on a helper drone over here. Yeah, can build, can repair, and with the helper drone he can repair faster. There you go. Relatively slow, relatively tanky, I think. On its own? No, not the tanky. relatively slow, but the Helvotron helps. And then you have your commanders. I have built them up in tiers, like the first two are on tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, because the increased waveband researches, which is the one that allows you to get more commanders over here and also reduces the cooldown of the summoning, is locked behind the tiers, tier 2, tier 4, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 and stuff, and so on and so forth. In tier 1 you have access to Commander Farsight over here, which is very good in ranged and melee, mostly good in melee however. Inspiring hero to the Tower Rebellion, blah blah, effective against most unit types. Yeah, can fly across the battlefield. You will notice that a whole lot of units have jump abilities. They are only have one jump enabled in tier 1. The Commander Farsight even has none, because it cannot have 2 jumps altogether. So they do not start with all the jumps. So very good combatant early on. Which is also very useful here is Commander Archon, more ranged focus, you can see it. He has some melee attacks, but mostly is used in ranged combat, has a shoulder mounted stuff as well as these 2 nasty weapons on the sides. Can later on get gun drones here that help him increasing his damage potential and ranged. Can jump of course as well, starting with this discharge repulsor impact field, which makes an AoE not much damage but a lot of knockback. Later on with the hero's war gear he can summon in one of these Barracuda airstrikes. And long range scanner, I think scans for infiltrated unit is something by the gun drones, I'm not really sure. Boom, and there you can scan, basically AoE scan, which detects also infiltrated stuff. These are all enabled later. He starts with the discharge repulsor impact and without drones. In tier 2 you have 2 commanders. You have Commander Shivastos over here, which is very useful lad, also gets these gun drones, but has most importantly 3 different abilities. He has the killing blow. They are sharing a cooldown as well, I think. Activators, improvement in combat capabilities for him and surrounding allies. So this is buffs for allies around as well. And then you have the Patient Hunter, which you have probably seen in some of my casts already, which basically stealths units around him, which is very nice. And then you have the Lone Warrior, improves prowess of his own being. So this is a buff for units around him, buff for himself, and stealth for units around. So very, very useful. You can see they share cooldown and the range isn't very shabby, and I think because he has vehicle armor, he's not infiltrated. Yeah, he infiltrates infantry and commander units. The other tier 2 commander you have access to is Sub Commander Torchstar, which has an absolutely nice voiceover.
You know Violence have a little patience, right?
And yeah, she is like if you see the attack range on the shorter range, because as the name is Torchstar, she has 2 flamers. Has the marker light drones, which she can add, which allows her to mark a squad, which is basically what you know from the Tau Pathfinders, which allow you to mark a squad, which has then increased damage. And you have the Scorched Earth, which is a ability that gives you a big flamey AoE damage over time, which is really nice. Not sure if this is enabled right away or if you need like hero war gear or stuff like that. The marker light drone needs hero war gear research for it being enabled. In tier 3 you have 2 more commanders. You have the his name is Shazra Oblotai, which is, as you see, he has missiles, and even more missiles, and has a missile barrage, I think. So this guy likes missiles, you know. So this is what he does. And then you have a guy, Commander Brightsword, which does more of the melee stuff. Has no range attack, you can see here. Has also the shield drones, which give him some abilities. He has the Blade of Light, a powerful attack that's in all directions. Yeah, AoE around him, very good damage I think on it as well. He gets the Mark Squad ability on his on this guy himself with Hero's War Gear. And then you have the shield ability from the shield drone, which gives him defensive bonuses. Melee lad. And then you have 2 commanders over here. We start with Commander Bravestorm over here, which is kind of like a pumped up broadside battlesuit. You see, you can entrench him. You see here. And then he uses his big cannons on the back before he uses more of his fists, I think. I do not think he has other ranged options. So he is melee kind of when are not entrenched and get ranged when entrenched. So these hands look really mean, to be honest. I wouldn't want to be punched by that. And then you have this Onaga strike, powerful strike in Onaga. Deals devastating to a single target. So you see, he is melee, and then he deals boom, making a big swing, I guess. So I really like him. And then the last one you see is a battle suit over here. Honor Shastra Ovesa is more like these, more or less like these big battle suits you have in Tau Empire here. Gives some missile drones for some missile support. Has in general a big gun here as well. It looks like a little shield thing over here as well. And has these 3 Nova Reactor stuffs you also kind of know from Tau Empire. Nova Reactor speed makes him fast but reduces his defenses stuff. Firepower makes him immobile and gives him reduced reload time. It's basically increases damage and also increases damage itself. So he's cannot move but shoots fast, and then he has also regeneration because he cannot. He cannot fire but gets healed. I think they also they share a cooldown, so you cannot use them directly at the same time. Of course, you need to devote the power to one of those, I guess. So these are your commander units. Let's quickly jump over to the infantry. The infantry there's not that much infantry, but what they do not make up in diversity, they make up in strength. I would say you have the Vesa squad. Over here, basically guardsmen with Tau weaponry. They are really versatile, really relatively fast, are better in melee than you would suggest, and gets a Vesawi with a big rifle over here, and can also get these pulse rifles or pulse carbines. Because a basically long range special weapon. This is kind of like a sniper, I think, and then he has a pulse carbines, which is a more anti-infantry stuff. Then you have in tier 1 already the patrol team, which is your tier 1 infiltration detection. They start only off with 2 models, are really fast on their feet but short range, and then they get online in tier 2 where they can get their mark squad ability and also Seeker missile, if this could be enabled by the yeah, you need a spotter to mark targets. There you go. And then you have also the pulse accelerator drone, which increases their range, and the Craft inhibitor drones, which slows units around. They can get iron rifles, I think this one is here, or rail rifles over here. This is one of these. The rail rifles is a long-ranged sniper rifle, and the iron rifle, yeah, an iron rifle. I'm not really sure what all these different tower stuff is really doing. And what is interesting, you noticed then that the Orcas over here made a little ping. This ping is also visible, there's a ping on the map visible, and also the sound for your opponent, which is meant to be that you can hunt them down and kill them, because the Orcas do not have a whole lot of HP in the beginning. There's an upgrade which increases that. They can also make these disruption pods, which makes a little ping on the map, but doesn't really call in an Orca, so you can fool your opponent, have some mind games. Also in tier 1, but these are built from your HQ, but dropped in from Orca are the strike team, which is more or less your standard fire warrior team. A bit better than your normal fire warrior team in melee. They can get a pulse incinerator drone and a craft inhibitor drone, which we have talked about here already, and also the fire warrior Shaswi. And I think these grenades are just normally enabled on them and need an upgrade, and are not tied to the fire warrior Shaswi. Correct me if I'm wrong, or we'll see it in the tech tree later on. And what is also enabled in tier 1 are the breachers. The breachers are not as strong as the breachers from Tau Empire, because they are in tier 2. These are tier 1 breachers, a little less damage but also pretty good knockdown. Have the craft inhibitor drone, which slows units around them, as well as the Shaswi veteran, and can throw, this is a mistake, can throw both a photon and EMP grenades. This is a copy from Tau Empire that needs to be changed. But yeah, more close ranged and more long ranged units in tier 1. In tier 2, you get access to 2 variants of crisis suits. So the crisis suits in Tau Empire are tier 3, here they are tier 2, whereas your broadside suits are here in tier 3 and not in tier 2. So there's a little switch around. You have the ominous crisis heavy battle suit over here, which has 2 of these kind of Gatling guns on the side and some missile pods on the back, and you can upgrade these stuff on the side, first to flamers, then to pulse rifles, which is anti-vehicle, and missile pods, and later on even pulse carbines. So, but you need to cycle through them. They are really cheap because of that, but yeah, you need to cycle through them. They are really good in their base loadout, but can also really good with their flamers depending on the faction. Unit that a lot of people like to go for, and yeah, has been nerfed already quite a bit to be more reasonable. Then you have here the Crisis Assault Battlesuit, which is basically a crisis suit with a big old glaive kind of thingy, which wants to kill units in melee. Can jump, of course, both of these. And then in tier 3, here you see the plasma rifle. It's called good against all targets, basically. And they are also tier locked. You cannot get the plasma rifle and the missile pods in tier 2 right away. I think you need to get tier 3 for that. In tier 3, you can get access to the broadside suits, and oh my god, how I do love this model over here. You have some missile pods on the side, but look at the gun. Jesus Christ, they have a big old rail gun just by moving around. They cannot jump because they are too big, relatively slow, and do not need to set up, or not as much as like putting your feet in the ground and attack. They can use this railgun just as they move on. You can change the railgun to a plasma rifle, making it more good against every target. I mean, it is already good against every target, but I think this has better accuracy and better firing rate and stuff like that. And then you have also this broadside assault battlesuit, which can also not jump and is similar kind of to the commander we have over here. Is when not entrenched, it's this melee basically. Is it melee? Yeah, it has no ranged attack over here, but if it's grounded, it activates its missiles. I think this is the kind of variant you have as Honor Guard for Tau Empire and Survival and stuff like that, or even on the campaign, I think. So where you have missile pods instead of the railgun on the side. I think, I could be totally wrong. I think I'm wrong, but it's the same idea as the commander over here. You can use their big old hands in melee when walking around and can entrench to use the missiles. This is the ground force, the infantry. Now let's talk about the vehicles. And the vehicles are really nice as well. In tier 2 I told you that you have the skimmers. You have the Techtrees speeder over here, which can cap, is really fast, can decap, and can also mark squads. Not sure if it can detect, I do not think, but it's really fast and mobile, relatively squishy of course. And then you have the Piranha skimmer, another variant, not a variant you have for Tau Empire. You have these with the twin railguns, so pretty good against vehicle and aircraft and heavy infantry, not so good against normal infantry or like quote-unquote swarmy units. It can later on use the Iron Strike ability over here. Big old boom over here. Needs a upgrade for it. I do not remember which upgrades. Both of these can jump right away. Later on you can get in tier 2 already also the Devilfish 2 carry. It is not infiltrated, has some pulse guns and can get smart missile pods on the sides, but always keep this kind of Gatling gun on the side. Can transport stuff of course. It's a little more tanky question mark than the, I think, yeah, the infiltrated Devilfish has only like 600 or 800 HP. This one has 1.5k. They can also jump but need an upgrade for it. There's one upgrade on the Research and Development Center. I think it's on the far right. Don't quote me on that. We see it later in the factory, which allows them to jump relatively fast. So you see here the jump animation is really fast for those, maybe a little too fast. Yeah, that's for tier 2. In tier 3 you get access to the Skyray missile defense gunship. Defense gunship seems to have a little different weaponry, so it's not, or is it? It has these missile pods on the bottom actually, and on the top not really sure what this is. I haven't really used it, so if you have some stuff to tell me, please tell me in the comment. It's, as you see, it mostly used against vehicles and aircraft. And then we have, which I find really interesting, the Drone Heavy Harbinger. The Drone Heavy Harbinger has no attack on its own, or has it? It's not stating here, but I think it has. And yeah, can produce drones when it is entrenched. It basically goes down in the ground, or basically makes this move over here, And then you can produce drones. These drones get cheaper the more missile drone harbingers you have. You will see. What they have entrenched, we will see it. You get another one over here. Here, heavy drone harbinger. Each harbinger reduces the cost of production of time of drones. There you go. And now we have 2 on the field. It is immediately produced. No, 99. And if I entrench them, I think it is reduced. No? 99. 99 and 16. Let's delete him. I thought it was cumulative. Maybe there's something going on that I'm missing. I thought it was the more you have. Maybe there's something going on that I'm not fully aware. But you can build different drones. No matter what, you can build drones like the combat drone, heavy gun drone, sniper drone, and missile pod drone. And they have different abilities. You have the normal combat drone, which is combat against infantry. Vehicle armor, of course, relatively sturdy for what it is and can detonate, dealing a lot of damage around it. Then you have the heavy gun drone, which is more heavy on the guns, but cannot destruct itself. You have the sniper drone, which is a more ranged focused drone, of course. And then you have the missile drone, which can use missiles, but also energy shield, some range attack around it, so it can be can defend itself a bit. In tier 4 you have access to 2 more units. The one is dropped in here, the hammerhead. The hammerhead does not start off with the railguns, it starts off with these dual tringed thingies over here. I think these are the suppressing stuff that slows units, but you can get fusion blasters, twin plasma rifles, and of course the ion cannon, which is, I think, the loadout we know from the Tau Empire. And as a relic unit, it has the sword fish gunship over here, which has 2 railguns, is really fast, can jump, has missiles even, as I see here, and some Gatling guns on the top. And yeah, all these, you see that all these could jump, if he's not entrenched, it is, because of the upgrade. They cannot jump without the upgrade I have mentioned earlier. We will see how it looks later on. We finish off the overview of the units with the aircraft units. You have an aircraft drone, which you can build from your listing post. It is infiltrated, which is nice. And yeah, relatively good for what it does. Has also these Seeker missiles, which you can use on a... quickly check. Vehicle and building, both. And yeah, just an infiltrated drone to use. Then you have the Razor Shark Strike Fighter, which is a aircraft unit, which, yeah, strike fighter. And then the Super Heavy, which is one of the coolest aircraft I have ever seen. I really like it for Tau Empire as well. The Tiger Shark over here, big gunship, a lot of guns, even like rail guns on a flying ship, and also has the Seeker missiles, which you already had seen on the Memoir drone. And over here we have the Manta Missile Destroyer. Look at this beauty. This is your tier 2 Titan. It is very good in combat on itself, and what it has especially, it can build squads. So in tier 2 Titans you do not need any more Orca drop-ins, you just build stuff from your Master Missile Destroyer. And it's a big floaty shooty thing on its own, so it's not just a building thingy, but it is just a good unit in itself. Note that you cannot build the drone heavy harbingers. It's either by design or by oversight, because you have this back icon over here. This might collide with the icon for the heavy drone harbinger. And yeah, is this an iron cannon? Yeah, 1 iron cannon, not 2 rail cannons. So this hammerhead can be really, really mean. So this is all the units. Oh wait, it's not. There is a little side branch of the Farsight Enclave if you enable the one of the Shogun victory conditions for Renegade Guard. I think it's called the Shogun. And this enables you, first and foremost, the Shasui Commander Konomi over here, which she get trash talked a whole lot by the Guessa. She's a commander. She can walk around, she can attach, and has 2 abilities. She has We Can't Hold This Tactical Retreat, which restores the morale of a unit and increases the speed. So the unit will be faster, and there's no way we fall. they will take casualties at a higher rate than normal, but the fire price is increased. So basically higher damage taken. So this is what you can get in tier 2. In tier 3 there are 2 Guesa focused upgrades, and if you have Konomi, you can get in tier 3 another upgrade which exchanges the normal Guesa with the Sangonomia's first Guesa squad. What a name. Basically pumped up Guesa with these samurai armor plates and stuff, getting also a samurai leader, but have this still the same weapon, the pulse rifle, the pulse carbine. Note that if you had special weapons and squad leaders on your normal Guesa and you get an upgrade, they get exchanged by a variant which does not have the squad leader and pulse carbine. So make sure to not overinvest in them if you plan to do them. And then I would need to look up the actual tiers, but I think the Sentinel over here is tier 3 as well. Aso Pattern Guesa Scout Sentinel has a big old, what is this? It's kind of looks still like a multi-laser, but is probably something else. And here you see the different weapons. It's so good. You can get a fusion blaster, okay, that's not so important. A flamer, of course, plasma rifle, missile pod, and a fucking railgun. You can Woo! Don't get me wrong, but a freaking Sentinel with a ray gun, this is just so good. I mean, I like Sentinels with plasma guns and stuff like that, plasma cannons, which is already really nice, or less cannons, but like a ray gun, this is so good. But I think the ray gun actually requires you to have tier 4 as well. So there you go. Ray gun Sentinel deployed. In tier 4, you have 2 more units available, which is your Iron Serpent, Eso Pattern Guesa Basilisk over here, which quickly showing has some really nice shells. Look at it go. This is like, I mean, Tau and Guardsmen have something in common, that they really like long range stuff, and this is just awesome. You can also get a little gunner over here with a plasma rifle. Plasma rifle itself is really good and has a flamer, it looks, at the front, so it can defend himself a bit in close range. It has really high HP for an artillery piece, but as I said, is tier 4. Also tier 4 is the Star Flare, the Guesa Thunderbolt Fighter. It is just an absolutely awesome aircraft unit, which is basically good against everything. Has quite a lot of HP for an aircraft. I mean, there are more tanky aircraft, but it's relatively speedy and deals a hell of a lot of damage. So if you get this branch, you might as well get the Star Flare thing. You get these units from your Earthcast War Factory, just to make sure. The Basilisks are limited at 2, and the Thunderbolts as well. I think the Sentinel you can get, yeah, a lot. Sorry, losing a bit my voice, but this should cover all the units, buildings, economy, unit caps, shenanigans for the Farsight Enclaves. So we now can jump into the Techtrees, where we will see. Oh, now he fires because I'm an enemy. Please do not fire, please. Now we go to the Techtrees, where we see a little closer what are the actual tech requirements for some of the drones, weapons, and squad leaders and whatnot. And here we are on the tech tree. Note that I have marked the special Shogun Konomi stuff in red. So you will see that everything in red is not enabled by default. Yeah, tech for the buildings, I more or less have explained to you everything in the video already. You see here now, these are the increased Wraith Band researches once you get access in tier 2. Note that you can still call in Orcas because they're an ability while you're researching. So they are not, it's not like, oh, now I research, now I can't get another drop in. That's not true. You can do it. It's even that way that you can drop in a commander Orca while you're researching it, and if you finish the research while the Orca is still on the field, and then can get a higher tier commander with it. So this is kind of nice how it works out in the end. You have your tech progression over here, your economy upgrades as well, and yeah, here you see the Earthcast stuff. Yeah, the Sentinel is tier 3, whereas the Basilisk and Thunderbolt are tier 4 as well. Okay, I talked about the units you can get over here. Here's the special upgrade in tier 3 for the Wesa. And here are the different upgrades. These are for your... oh, there's a little hiccup over here. That I will fix it. Can I fix it quickly now without killing? There you go, fixed. Yeah, these are the upgrades for your infantry, hero, war gear stuff. These are your economy stuff. This is the drone stuff, and this is more of the ability stuff like that. And you will see it in the tech tree later on. This is an upgrade for your orcas, which allows them to not make any sounds when landing. And this is the Orca upgrade, which increases their HP and I think armor class, but yeah, HP for the most part. The different defensive buildings, I have talked about them. Here's the... and the shield you see over here, I haven't talked about it. This shield generator also gives them some HP regeneration, which is nice. Okay, and now to the units. And the units, you will... I have the Orcas here, which are more or less units, and you see the different tech requirements for the heroes and units, but I have told you them, I think, for the most part in the video. And here we now see the different researches required. For example, for the Earthcast, you need a second research thingy. And for the commanders, you see here that you get more drones and stuff because of the heroes war gear for the most part. Some require the heroes war gear and the research center, but you have the research center once you have it. So yeah, and some require also some more higher tiers or waveband researches even to get more of the stuff, which is an indirect tier requirement you could think of. The tiers are the researches, which is always an important part, or are the add-ons? They are researches, so they are there to stay. Once you have them, even if you lose your HQ, which is important. It's an upside for the most part. Yeah, you see that all the different abilities require you to have the hero's war gear and in some different levels. Yeah, here you have also, yeah, if they have drones, I have enabled, show you that you have them here as well. Yeah, Commander Konomi has also a passive that buffs some Guesa, I think, around her. Yeah, the abilities over here. You see that the marker ability is locked behind the drone guy over here, the spotter, I think it's called. The different requirements for the weapons require the first upgrade over here, the weapon, and also the... I see the grenades are not tied to the chassis, but to the upgrade, which is nice. And then yeah, you see here that you require the research and development center for the flamer you can get right away for the crisis battlesuit, but for the fusion blasters you need a research and development center in tier 2, and the missile pods and everything else also needs tier 3. This is more or less everything important here. Do we have something for the vehicles? Yes. When is their jump enabled? You see it is with this upgrade over here, which is your last to the far right, which enables some abilities for the units, and most importantly the jump ability for your skimmer kind of vehicles, even the relics, which is nice. Your aircraft over here. This one is infiltrated and detects, it says. Okay, that's nice. An infiltrated detector is always nice to have. It's kind of like a skull probe, but better because it can shoot. And they get the missiles also with the ability upgrade over here. For your survival, it's really nice that you get really big units. Like early on, you get also already a broadside battlesuit, a missile gunship, a... oh, now it's getting out of hand. This is like a... what they call it again, the hammerhead, the relic unit actually in tier 4, and then if you play on harder, you get actually another of these tiger sharks, which is amazing. Okay, tier strength. Farsight Enclaves are hard to measure in normal standards, as you are so reliant to have a good matchup for your commander. If your commander get trounced in early game, you can get behind really fast. If your commander early on can deal with the enemy army and push them back and stuff like that, you are really good. So basically what I noticed, okay, first and foremost, I'm not really good with Farsight Enclaves. There are people that are very good with Farsight Enclaves. They have used them quite a lot when they were a little more OP. They have been tuned down in a few patches from like 7.0 to what we now have 7.3.1. There have been numerous nerfs, especially the last nerf was the most important to the economy. Before they had an economy that was too strong, higher that was actually meant to be, in a sense. So they are now at the spot where the economy is what was intended. And also one of the more outright stronger units, for example, Commander Archon was really strong, is now a bit reduced in damage, and also the Price's battlesuit got reduced in damage by quite a bit. The missile pod, it directly has missile pods on the back, so this was the biggest quote-unquote offender, has been tuned down as well. So there's like still in the minds of many players like, oh, this is OP, we cannot use it. And that's why I do not have a lot of replays to see and study from, like newer replays. So what I was going to like factions with high model, low HP count, there's Archon very favored because he has some AoE damage around and can deal with them relatively effectively. Whereas if you have like single units that are more like single, like lower model count but higher HP, there Commander Farsight can go in melee and tie them up, and even go toe-to-toe to some commanders in some extent. He also has the ability to jump out if it gets too dicey. And don't be afraid to just park your commanders in the back of your base until they have regenerated, because they are not just commanders, they are your economy and unit production as well because of the Orca drop-in. So if possible, do not lose commanders. Okay, where was I going was the tier strengths. They are really strong in tier 1, as you can get a commander really fast on the field. You can get your first commander 1 minute 30 minutes into the game, which also has a jump if you get Archon. Commander Farsight needs to walk a bit before he can jump. So there you go, really fast commanders. They have in the Wesa really good early infantry. What is not so good for them is the first strike swords and breachers. I think the breachers I have not seen used a whole lot, but I think the breachers, there are some stuff you can do with them really good because of the knockback. When they get enabled is, I think, the most in tier 2, because then you can get your first upgrades economy wise as well for your army. All the different upgrades are locked behind tier 2. You can get these very effective skimmers, and you can get your crisis battlesuits, your devilfishes, and stuff like that. So you can get a whole lot of strong units and strong upgrades in tier 2. So you see that, and I have seen in the past that Farsight Enclaves are very liking tier 2 and not getting to tier 4 relatively fast, because your tier 3 is good, especially if you go for the Shogun kind of stuff, which is mostly enabled in tier 3. And some cool units like the drone harbinger and stuff is in tier 3. But yeah, tier 3 is also good. Tier 4 depends. It is good in the sense that you have a good relic, that you have a in the Titan tiers, not in the Titan tier, you have a super heavy here, which is really nice to have like 2 big units in tier 4. But it's really, really good if you get the Shogun stuff. But otherwise, it's going a little down in effectiveness. Tier 1 Titan is basically your support units, buildings, which is, I think, the Orca cannon is nice and all, but I think the shield generator takes the show over here, making your units more durable, especially if you need to have your commanders alive to stay relevant, is the big kicker here. And the Manta is not, I think, the best in combat size. He only has like, quote unquote, only 10k HP. But like the versatility that you can just produce now without the need of anything else is really nice. So what I said is, I think they are the strongest in tier 2. So if you play Farsight Enclaves, try to get a decently timed tier 2. There's even a good tier 2 rush you can do. And go from there. Stay here, get the upgrades, get the units, and yeah, try to win the game here. A lot of talk here, sorry. We will now, with all this talk gone, talk about the build orders. And here we are in the build order document. The first one is always a quote-unquote standard build order. You see that you always want to get your Orca summoning building and orbital landing flare. And there's one big thing. I've seen it in the beginning of the Farsight Enclaves games, made wrongly a hell of a lot. You get the first builder on the summoning building, and the second builder immediately to the orbital landing flare. Do not double build this building and then build this one. This will delay your overall summon of the first Orca. You need an orbital landing flare to be able to summon in an Orca. If you get one worker here, the second worker over here, you can summon in the Orca in minute 1:25, 1:30, something like that, 1 minute 30 seconds. If you double build both, it delays this by almost 30 seconds. So this is huge if you do this wrong. So please take notes. If you play Farsight Enclaves, do it like that. Then you almost always, want to get a Guervesa, and then depending on your enemy faction, you get another Guervesa or one of these scout patrol teams. The patrol teams aren't as good in the fighting capabilities as the Guervesa, but they can detect. So if you have infiltrated opponents, Dark Elder with Mandrakes, Tau Empire with Testile suits, stuff like that, you want to have these patrol teams out. Also Elder with Rangers. Which is absolutely pain in the backside to play against. But yeah, there you go. Then once you can summon in, you more or less want to immediately have one of your commanders out, depending on the enemy factions, and then immediately get the Orca for the units out to get all your economy going, and to be relatively aggressive with that, you also want to get your units relatively quickly with that. So that's your starting army. You can, depending on the circumstances, add more units here, but I think this is okay-ish as an starting army. Later on, you of course want to get your second commander out, depending on what you did not get, and don't forget to get the orbital landing flare before they take a bit to build. So make sure to actually, get the units, the orbital landing flare before you get it. And then you do not really need another unit, depending, you have then 2 Orcas. I think this Orca comes first, then this Orca, you can get another unit out, depending on the situation, the Breachers or the Strike Team. And here you normally want to get the power supply drop in, so you can then take up to tier 2. You will use some power for the commanders, of course, some power for your listening post upgrades if you need them to defend, and stuff like that. And then the more power you get here from, you need to get to tier 2. Then we have the Guervesa spam, which is really useful on maps with a lot of points, like Meeting of Minds, Shrine of Excellion, stuff like that. You basically get like 3 Guervesa and no standard unit from your commanders. The commanders, you get the commanders from the commander pots, but from the unit pots, you get the requisition or power, depending on this, what you need. The first Orca, you let him stay to get every drop of economy out of it. And then in the last possible moment, you get the requisition drop. And this will then allow you to get your 4th Guervesa, which, you reinforce them to max at some point, and then you push. And you have 2 commanders, 4 Guervesa. You can even get more if you really need to, but this would delay your tier 2. And with these drop-ins of power, these power supply drops, you can then get to tier 2. Then we have a tier 2 rush, which is very potent. The tier 2 rush is basically you have the 2 Guervesa and your commander. And you leave you get your commander very quickly because you need some presence. You cannot take the commander Orca and leave him on the field. So then you have only like 2 units and can get rushed. You want to have a commander on the field, but then the Orca from the commander, you stay on the field as long as possible. That's because this is showing this is a little delayed. You should use this way. Maybe this is okay. I should need to look into if you need to get a requisition directly to be aggressive. I think this is what I want to hear. And here you want to leave it on the ground as long as possible, then get the power supply drop, which then allows you for a tier 3. It lines up resource-wise really nicely. And in tier 2, I think, you get your 2nd or 3rd unit Orca drop while you're on the way to tier 2. So the Orca is on the field, then you hit tier 2, and then you have enough resources for a crisis battlesuit. So this lines up really nice to have a very early crisis battlesuit on the field. Then you have the turret rush, which is gimmicky over here, the final build out over here. I thought it would be nice because the turret does not need any building. You can get the turret right away. So I thought, nice, let's go Blood River, let's build a turret in the enemy base and let's go. But then I noticed the different, the very, I call it awkward or special, you can call it, specialization of the turret. It is basically only good against commanders in the early game. So any infantry will actually kill it. It's very expensive for what it does, so it does not work out. I have a replay for you later on to show it, showcase it. But yeah, you get 2 builders because the first builder is immediately running to the opponent, and then the 2 builders you build will get the commander stuff over here, which will be delayed. You can also get the commander stuff early and get your 3rd builder just walking across the field, which delays your turret. But you have a commander right away to play with you. And then you want to get, of course, a lot of where the first one is, one of these is going with your turret, depending on when you get it. First or second, I think, should go. And the other ones are for capping in your base. You see, you need some more power drop-ins to support a second turret if you really want to all in with it. And one unit cannot cannot hurt as well, and then you get tier 2. But yeah, this all more or less falls this build with this damage spread values for the turret, so don't use it. Yeah, we close this of course with a replay, this time with 2 replays of me playing. So I said that I'm not really good with them, but I asked for replays from some other players. They did not deliver, so you're stuck in here with me looking at my mediocre my mediocre Farsight Enclaves performance here. So stick in with me. I have 2 replays for you. One showing where I failed the turret rush really horribly, and one I have the tier 2 rush. You will see the opponents when we are on the replays. And here we are on the first replay where I play Farsight Enclaves against a player called Silvius, which picked Death Core of Creek. He actually joined the game wanting to play some Farsight Enclaves as well. We had a little lull moment, and yeah, he decided to go for Death Core of Creek. Yeah, he, I think, isn't the highest skilled, which is absolutely perfect because my Farsight Enclaves isn't the greatest as well, so this kind of works out. I have played a handful of games against Grindon before, and he flattened me all 3 games really quickly because he's really good. He's on paper with like his base factions better than me, and then when I play a faction that I'm not really good with, and he has a faction he's really comfortable with, these were really one-sided each, so I didn't want to use them for the guide. So you're stuck in here with me playing mediocre against a player which is also not the strongest. So yeah, but yes, bear with me. So you see the basic opener I was talking about. If you get the Council and Orbital Landing Flare, 1 builder each, you will see here that I think Enclaves Council will be a little faster build. This is because I wasn't the fastest on clicking the second builder button. So they should be finished about, if you are faster, like 1 minute 20, and here it will be 1 minute 25. Then I can drop in the first Orca, get the first fire base, get the second fire base, immediately getting Ahakon here, or at least I should. There you go, Ahakon, because of Death Core of Creek having low HP model count, high model count units, jumping him over the ledge, and this Orca will stay not until the end of days, but just because shortly before it needs to pick up. So you see that we are far away from the power we need to attack up, so we need to stick it around a bit and also use the power drop in. You see 1 fire base build up increases the power by 20% from 10 to 11. So these fire bases are immediately working. You also get a power gift from them, like the quote-unquote standard 50 power from them. Yeah, and I getting a little aggressive because I also am aware that I can jump back if need be, and you see here now quickly what he can do with his stuff against low HP units. You see here more or less immediately killing these Jaegers, more or less killing the second Jaeger squad here as well. So he is really good at what he does, getting the power drop in now. I'm clicking the tier 2 button like even before minute 3. So this is really an important build order you can use. It is very dangerous to go because of early rushes, which is more or less normal. You see here this knockback used. Sadly, this standard bearer didn't got knocked away far, so he could actually force melee combat immediately again, which he didn't. Now trying to focus on these Jaegers, killing 2 models here, and now I need to run away. I want to get the decap, which I get. I get a cap of my own points, and are halfway through tier 2 now. I think I will get, I think it's like 3 minutes for the Orca, so I could use the next Orca here. I jump out, and I'm a little behind the Orca, like 15 seconds behind the Orca. I think I notice it now that I can drop in another Orca. Max? Max is not working perfectly here. I think it's 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes. No, you see here. I think it's 3 minutes, and I was 30 seconds too late over here. The next Orca here is not available, but this is what I said. The Orca is here standing and waiting for me to get to tier 3. And then I can get the Crisis Battlesuit, more or less, getting the Firebase, which gives me more income, killing some Jaegers over here, getting tier 2. And boom, Crisis Battlesuit, 4 minutes on the field. This is what this build order is all about. Having and very dancing here over here, but having a Crisis Battlesuit on the field very, very early. I also get the now the increased waveband transmission, which is decreasing the cooldown, of course, of the commander orcas and allowing me different commanders to pick from. And now I'm here this early with a Crisis Battlesuit over here with Archon. So this is pain for every Death Cove Creek player on the planet. I can now also kind of hold my own against these guys over here. I think the Crisis Battlesuit isn't as good in melee, but can jump out, so I'm a little microing over here, getting now the next commander, but the same goes for the commander. I can wait until the waveband transmission is finished before getting my second commander out, which is exactly what I do. I save up the resources by letting it stay, and also getting, then I think I get Torch Star here as well, because I was like, yeah, why not get Flamer stuff against, you see here I'm getting the Flamers for Death Cove Creek, because their infantry will lose control once they lost their morale. Here now Commander Torches are coming in. She can also get another torpedo, which you always want to have, and then she can, I think I ordered her to jump, but she didn't for some reason. Yeah, getting flaming now these poor Death Cove Creek fellows over here, and now going for the next point. I'm a little late with these Wesa over here. They could decap this already, so I'm late. Here I lost my second Wesa squad, sadly, but yeah, this is not big of a deal. I think I also am saving up for another Crisis Battlesuit, which they cost like 80 power and 350 requisition. So with 80 power in, oh, she's pretty fast on her feet. There she goes. I think with 80, there you go. Next Crisis Heavy Battlesuit can also jump to the enemy base. Now flaming this stuff. I think I only decapped this and then moved them over. And notice now here that there's the first heavy weapon platoon. And what do you do if you see a heavy weapon platoon? You jump over. There's Commander Torchstar over here flaming. There's the Crisis Battlesuit flaming around, getting focused, I think, a bit, so I get out. There's now the next Orca, and yeah, the economy will line up shortly that I will have even a third Crisis Heavy Battlesuit, and yeah. Commander Torchstar here torching her opponents. There's Archon as well. This next Crisis Battlesuit is coming in, and I think, yeah, having now 3 Crisis Battlesuits, and there will also be, yeah, those suits. So this is making the most use of these Crisis Battlesuits. You can call me an abuser, but this is kind of how Farsight Enclaves functions. Archon didn't lost a whole lot of HP. This Crisis Battlesuit over here lost a lot of HP. And I didn't see the game from his side, but I didn't see a singular bunker, for example. A bunker over here. If you play Death Cove Creek in this patch, this point here is the first priority on Fata Morgana. I mean, I know it's a Farsight Enclave guide, but I can't resist talking about it. If you play Death Cove Creek, you want to get this point first. Like, the first Jaeger will go here. And then you will get one of your engineers as soon as you can over here and build a bunker over here. And with a bunker over here, these 2 points are really secure. At least this one cannot be decapped from your opponent, and cannot, of course, kept from your opponent. You might not get a listening post up, but yeah, that's okay. But you can get a listening post up here. And I tell you what, these guys can jump out, but for example, if the Crisis Battlesuit with the Flamers, which I used, I couldn't just jump in with a Flamer against a bunker, especially if it gets repaired and the listening post is upgraded and units are here, units are inside the listening post. Total mayhem. I do not think I would be able to. But then the right choice was the heavy weapon team for anti-infantry, which is nice. I think you can also go Death Riders, but this depends on what I go. Yes, I have a big ranged blob stuff going on, so this could work. But yeah, enough of Death Core Freak, sorry. And now I have a second replay for you where I attempted the turret rush, and you will quickly see what it can do and what it can't. And here in the second game, where I'm again Farsight Enclaves, this time against Grinden's Tau Empire. Tau Empire is a main faction, so there you go. His main faction, he's a better player. Yeah, you kind of foreshadowing a bit. And you see here the Earthcast builder gets out immediately, getting this two next Earthcast builder. The first one goes to the Enclaves Council because it needs longer to build, and the second one goes to open the landing flare. And more or less the perfect position is about here for the turret, you see. Haha, getting the drone sandy turret. 800 HP is okay-ish for a turret, especially if you can get it up this early on. Building time is also relatively fast. I mean, really fast, to be honest. So I'm looking at it, and then the Wesa will move over here. So this is the fastest turret you can ever get, like even the first minute. And then they are out of range, so I manually target this one over here, and the first shot misses. And you see, it only takes like 30 HP damage and has a really low fire rate. 30 damage against a squad that has 1000 HP is like more than 30 shots to kill the whole squad, so this is absolutely not very good turret. The upgrades in tier 2 are good, I know that. The missile pods and the burst cannon stuff, they work, they are good, but the early sentry turret is really bad for what it is. So I need to get some Guessa over here to fight. I mean, turret rushing Tau Empire, which can actually outrange the turret in tier 1, might also be not the best idea. Where it could work better, for example, I think, would be, let me quickly think, maybe Chaos Demons. I mean, you would need to fend off the Furies and stuff. Dark Elder, if they do not get for the Archon, for example, could also be really good, because they have really squishy, high cost units with low range, stuff like that. But over here, I'm now also getting my first Orca. I think I also forgot to call it in for a few seconds. There we have now stealth suits coming in, decapping my points. Yeah, this is all fire. So you see now that against the commander, it actually does more or less the same damage, but I also have the Guessa over here. I thought against commanders it does better, but it's more that it's only a single entity, and yeah, it gets focused down, I guess. So I get Tau Commander halfway done, the engineer dies over here, my Guessa are still being in vision range, which I found interesting. And yeah, I will not get a single model over here, I think, or will I? No, not yet. Now one fire model, woohoo! Farsight, Commander Farsight, I thought would be nice. Archon against Fire Warriors is not the best, because it, I think, not really sure, because it has more AoE damage, and now Commander Farsight comes in and try to be a little hero over here, but yeah, in the end it will not turn out, because I do not have a whole lot of resources, only 42, because I haven't got up my listening posts over here, and yeah, even didn't get my own points, which is the biggest kicker over here. His economy should be way better, because the listening posts provide you more immediate impact for Tau Empire. Farsight Enclaves, as I said in the guide, it is increasing your income. So you want to have some base income. If you do not have some base income, these fire bases aren't doing a whole lot for you. Yeah, and yeah, this now goes all south. There's now 2 squads of fire warriors. I only have 1 Guerrilla squad which I reinforce until there's no end. If there's no tomorrow, basically. I will, if I get lucky, get 1 fire warrior squad, but these guys will shortly lose morale. There should be a flamer on the way soonish. I mean, at least there should. Against these guys, roasting them and them losing the morale would be nice. Fire warriors getting reinforced. These losing their morales anyway. Commander Farsight getting also now a little target acquired thingy, and now he can jump as well. I have no jumps left. My micro isn't the greatest. I'm losing, almost losing another point in my base. Only having plus 34 income. Losing my Guerrilla, and I call it. So, as you see here, the turret itself is not the way to go with Farsight Enclaves. GG is called. Game is over. So, quick game showing that the turret rush does not work. How is his income? He has plus 80. I had not even half of it. So, yeah. So GG's to Grinnan, better player and better build order here. Quickly seeing what, yeah, it is. Okay, this is the Farsight Enclaves guide. So if you have anything that you are still wondering about Orcas and the economy and whatnot, please leave some questions and comments. If you have some more clarifications of stuff that I haven't told you here or stuff that I told you wrong, please also in the comments. Yeah. And as usual guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye!